Hello everyone, I'm Liz Forrest, broadcasting to you live from Vancouver, BC, where I'm currently living and teaching Toltec Wisdom. And today what I'd like to pass on to you from these teachings is another level of awareness. If you've done any research or studying, familiarizing yourself with the Toltec teachings, you will already know that the first step in the Toltec teachings, and really, in my opinion, any kind of empowerment is the mastery of awareness, is becoming aware of our thoughts, words, actions, becoming aware of all the ways that we might not be telling ourselves the truth or tricking ourselves in some way so that we are imposing limitations on ourselves, and ultimately not being in our full big position here in our space and place on the Mother Earth. So what I would like to bring into the mastery of awareness today is another complementary perspective, another complementary insight that balances and also supports us in being in our awareness, enhancing our awareness as we go through our day-to-day lives. After sitting with students for all the years that I have, often the feedback when we come to a place in our story, in our past, in our history that we realize is some kind of, let's call it a wound. Let's stay with the Toltec language. A wounding of some kind that's in our past. And we are in our process of evolving from that wounded place. And so, of course, what happens with wounds is that they eventually heal. They eventually heal if we allow them to. Yeah. And so sometimes the language, the viewpoint of the students that I've sat with over the years is that when they come upon a place like that in themselves, what they want to do is get rid of it. That's a word I hear often. I want to get rid of this. I want to cut this out of my life. I don't want to continue responding to experiences and interactions in my life in this habitual way. So I want to cut it out. I want to rid myself of it. So this is the emotional level that I'm talking about. Wounding of the emotional body. Could also be the spiritual. Our spirit is somehow wounded, held back from an experience in our past. And so let's look at this in a little bit different way. Let's imagine that it's a physical wound that we're talking about. So physically, we have hurt ourselves. We have a big open wound on our arm. We've cut our arm in some gardening accident, and we have this big gaping wound. And so the most logical thing, the most caring thing would be to take care of that wound, would be to stop what we're doing, would be to clean it with something, would be to put our full attention on it, certainly put our full attention on that wound that perhaps is bleeding now, and bind it up with bandages, with some kind of wrap to take care of it. And maybe we hold our wounded arm in close to us and be gentle with it. And perhaps we would send a lot of our loving, healing energy after we had come out of the initial maybe shock or surprise that we had this big open wound on our arm. And for the time, the days, however long it took for that big cut on our arm to heal, we would be very protective of it and take very good care of it and continue to clean it on a regular basis. Continue to change the bandages on a regular basis. And little by little, what we'd notice is that it would be healing. That big cut on our arm would be healing. Gradually, each day, would be looking better, would be feeling better. until the day came when we took off the bandages entirely and the wound was closed, healed, and our arm was well again and could continue to function in its full capacity. So think about that for a moment. Think about the contrast between how we treat physical wounds and how we treat our emotional wounds. The physical wound, to heal it, we aren't going to be talking about getting rid of it or cut it out. I would hope not. And just in our response to our physical wound, if you've ever noticed that what we want to do, even if you're walking down the hallway, you stub your toe on a chair leg that happens to be in your way or you're in its way, what's the first thing we do? What's the first thing we do? Yeah, we put our hand around it and say, ow, ow, my toe, and give it some attention. So we hold it, we embrace it, we touch it, and go through our reaction to our pain and say, ow, 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 and maybe we have a few tears, and then we carry on. So the contrast that I'm giving you is that really how we treat our emotional wounds? Do we love our emotional wounds? Do we honestly embrace the pain of emotion? Do we take care of our emotional self like we take care of our physical wounding? Do we allow people to touch our physical wounds? If I had a big cut on my arm, I don't think I'd be wanting anybody else to touch it, to handle it. I'd be protecting it and taking very good care of it myself so that it could heal and not become infected, not become re-wounded. So the contrast, if you sit with it for a few minutes, what I'm bringing in is that is the way to heal our emotional wounds as well. It's the same but different, the same but different. The similarities are that to heal our emotional wounds, they need care. Our emotional pain needs love and attention, care, needs to have some level of protection. By that I mean that we're not going to put ourselves in our awareness, we are not going to subject ourselves to the same experiences that are going to re-wound that same emotional place in us. In our awareness, we make conscious choice to not expose ourselves to the same experiences, the same interactions, the same environments that are going to be emotionally wounding in the same way. In our consciousness, we would choose to take better care of ourselves and not expose ourselves to that. Just in the same way as our physical wounding, we're not going to put ourselves in a situation where we're going to physically hurt ourselves in the very exact same place once again. I'm talking about consciously. Yeah, consciously. We do many things subconsciously, and then when it starts to rise to the surface of our consciousness, that's where we make different choices. And so what I'm suggesting today in the Toltec teaching that I'm passing on to you is, along with your awareness, along with practicing the mastery of awareness, I'm suggesting that you practice the experience, the choice of embracing your emotional wounds, embracing them, loving them, taking care of them, cleaning them. There's all different ways to clean emotional wounds in the Toltec traditions and other shamanic practices to energetically clean our emotional wounds. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I can certainly give you a lot of information about energetic cleaning of our emotional wounds. So the next time that you come into awareness that you are having some kind of emotional response to something in your life, I'm going to suggest that you embrace that emotional response. Embrace your sadness, embrace your anger, embrace your aloneness, whatever it is that's coming up to the surface for you. Embrace it, take care of it, hold space with yourself so that you can start to see clearer, what is it that I really need right now? What would support me in this moment rather than not support me, rather than be detrimental? The term is going against myself. What could I do that would not be going against myself in this moment to contribute to my healing? Because that's where we're going. We're going to our healing. Thank you very much for coming on to my free Toltec teaching. And I send you all my love from Vancouver, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Au Mateo.